It damages your own self-respect when you don't follow through on what you say you're going to do. It really chips away at the respect that you have for yourself. You know, self-confidence, it's something that's spoken about quite a lot. Where does self-confidence come from? How do you build it? And the very short answer to that is by doing exactly what you said you were going to do. By delivering, by showing, proving to yourself that you do exactly what you say you're going to do. That you are a man of your word. You know, that phrase is thrown around quite a lot, right? A man of your word. Oh, he's a man of his word. What does that mean? It means that he delivers. Plain and simple. This guy delivers. He's not a talker. He is a doer. And any noise he creates stems from the results of his work, not from him gossiping and talking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you're lacking self-confidence, it's because you're promising a lot and you're not delivering. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're not proud of what you see, it's because you've been eating too much, of course, clearly, but you're not sticking to your fitness goals. Maybe you set a goal this year to get into the best shape of your life, to be, you know, really lean in terms of body fat, to be doing 15,000 steps a day, whatever it may be. But you look in the mirror and that just doesn't, there's no synergy between the goal you set and the physique that you currently have. And that is a result of your inaction. It's a result of you not following through on those goals. You know, there's a saying, nobody plans to be fat. It's what happens when you fail in regards to your fitness goals. Right? It's a sign of failure. It is. And, you know, let's not sugarcoat this. Let's just keep it real with ourselves. I've had many of those conversations with myself. In fact, right now, I am looking to lose a few kilos of body fat. Right? I could be a little bit leaner. I keep it real with myself, but I ensure that I stick to exactly what I set out to do. So if I told myself I'm going to do 15,000 steps, I don't care what happens. It's a non-negotiable. I have to do 15,000. You know, I bought a walk pad, which is actually just right below me there underneath my desk, which allows me to get more steps in on the days I don't quite feel like it. If it's dark outside, you know, right now in the UK, it's getting dark pretty early, around 7 o'clock. You know, it doesn't look too encouraging. You know, it doesn't encourage you to go outside and go for a 10,000 step walk, right? So I have my walk pad here that allows me to do more steps even when I'm at home. But you've got to make it a non-negotiable. You have to do this. Failure to do this leads to you chipping away at your self-confidence and your self-esteem. You don't think highly of yourself because you're a coward. You run away from action. And you can see it in a man's eyes. You can see it in a man's body language when he lacks self-confidence. It's almost like he just shrinks. You know, he's looking down, his body is closed off. He doesn't even want to see his own reflection in the mirror. He's trying to hide away from himself. He's running away from the reality of his situation. The good news is you can change. And as Jim Rohn used to say, you are not a tree, you can move. You can change your circumstances if, big if, you are willing to change. If you are willing to change. If you are unwilling to change, then you will stay exactly where you are right now. And if anything, you will get worse. So this applies to everything, not just fitness. If your business is not where you want it to be, look at the work you've been putting in. In most cases, it stems from a lack of work, from a lack of consistent work. You know, you can't be wonderful once a week. You've got to be switched on every day if you're running a business. You don't just get to walk away and do nothing and then expect your business to continue growing. Unless you have a team that you've hired that have been working with you for quite some time, you know what their strengths are, then you can take a step back from the business. But up until that point, it's all you. You're the marketing guy, the sales guy, everything. CFO, COO, right? So you got to be switched on. If you have been switched on, you're doing the work every single day to the best of your ability, but things aren't growing, then perhaps dissect what you're doing wrong and find ways to improve it. Perhaps you need to outsource some work and find somebody who's an expert in a certain area that can help you, either, for example, improve your marketing, whatever it may be, funnels, etc., right? But from what I've discovered from having loads of conversations with guys is that they're just very inconsistent. Sluggish, slow. They take forever to start. As Alex Hormozy says, most people aren't entrepreneurs, they're wantrepreneurs. They want to be their own boss and run a business, etc., but they don't get going. Taking actions quickly, being decisive is so important if you want to win in life, not just in business, in life in general. You see something you want to do, you make strides towards it. You don't sit there, well. And I've experienced the negative impacts of sitting on something for a while. Nothing is just going to sit there waiting for you to make up your decision. If you fail to make a decision, someone else will. For example, you've been looking at your dream home. You know it's your dream home. You've got the money for it. It's in the area you want. It's everything that you've ever wanted in a home. This home has. You're looking at it, umming and ahhing. If you don't make a decision, someone else will buy that house. Same thing when it comes to a car that you really want. Same thing when it comes to the romantic relationships. If you don't build up the courage to go and speak to the girl that you really like, somebody else will. And you'll see her post on her story 6 months down the line with a little ring or something, she got engaged or whatever, right? And you'll be like, damn, I missed my shot, right? If you fail to take action, somebody else will take action, and you will be observing them, looking at them, feeling envious in most cases, which is not something I ever want you guys to experience, envy. Because envy is avoidable. You shouldn't envy somebody ever in life. Because envy stems from laziness. It really does. Because you couldn't be fucking asked to go out there and do the work. Now you see somebody else doing the work and doing really well. And you're like, oh, this is annoying me. It's because that person has shone a spotlight on you, exposing your lack of action, your cowardly nature. You're running away from the work. You're trying to avoid it to the best of your ability. But somebody else is confronting the difficulty head on, is going out there, is getting rejected, is trying again, getting rejected, trying again, working so hard, burning the midnight oil, waking up early, going to bed late. And now you see them doing really well. Now it bothers you. I don't like the fact that this person's doing well. There's a saying, don't be upset by the results that you didn't get from the work that you didn't do. If you didn't fucking do the work, you have no right to be upset. You didn't do the work. Period. Full stop. So get your head out your ass, because it's dark up there. Get your head out your ass and get to work. And if you ever catch yourself feeling envious, it's probably because you're not doing enough. And you're focusing too much on what other people are doing, and you're not focusing on what you're not doing. Because remember, where you are in life right now is a result of the decisions or lack of decisions you've made in the past. Your inaction is costing you, and costing you dearly. As Jim Rohn used to say, if you think the bill for trying is expensive, wait until they hand you the bill for not trying. That is really expensive. The cost of that is regret. And you don't ever want to experience regret later in life. I could have, I should have, I would have. You don't ever want to be that guy. You want to be able to say, I did. Even if it didn't work out as you expected, I did. There's a certain feeling of fulfillment that comes from saying, you know what, I did. I gave it a shot. You won't feel regret that way. Regret usually stems from the things that you decided not to do. That's where regret comes in. Okay? So let's knuckle down. Let's build that self-confidence by taking massive action. As much action as we possibly can. All right, gents, thanks very much. Give this video a like. Drop a comment, man. It helps with the algorithm. Share this with a friend if you feel like they would benefit from it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.